Hello there, welcome back for more live coding of Haskell online. Minimize that. I'm going to pick up where I left off last week, which is taking the servant app I'd worked on November last year, which is going to be used for booking time on various environments, various systems. And I kind of had a skeleton servant app working, all the data stored in memory. But you can create requests to say, I want to book time on a particular environment. And then last week I was doing the groundwork, I guess, for taking some work I did with megaparsec to accept kind of humanish descriptions of duration. So you can say, I want to book it for a week or for a couple of hours or for 2 months or whatever. I want to take the work I did in that and fold it into this application so that when you're booking the environment, you can book it with a description of the duration, a start time and a description of duration. So you can say, I want to book it from tomorrow for 2 days. To get that working, I did some, I guess, playing around with ASIN, the JSON encoding and decoding in this case, working out how to sort of hook into the decoding and take a string which says something like 2 hours and turn it into a number. And I also looked at how a little bit how UTC time works and how to add stuff onto that. Got a bit lost, but just because I was missing from integral at one point. So the plan for today is to develop further, look at the duration parsing and sort of start to move some of the megaparsec stuff over. Okay, so this is where I got to last week. Most of it is about from duration. So there's working out how to insert from duration into this ASIN parsing or decoding. At the minute, it's just hard coded, like it only understands 2 hours or a day. For some weird reason, I decided to return a number of hours here. And then to work out, when you create a booking, it'll have a start time because that's one of the attributes of booking from here. And to work at the end time, you take the number of hours that we've decoded here and you multiply it by 3600 to turn it back into seconds, and then you add it on to the start time. So that's where I got to. This from duration is obviously rubbish. It's like just 2 hard-coded values. It's also like returning an integer, which doesn't seem great. So actually, the first thing before I forget to do this is let's say we want to end up with seconds. And actually, I'll make it a type alias. So seconds will be an int. And then this can be seconds. And then we'll just do multiplication here, I guess, for now. I'll fix that. Well, when we do the proper parsing, all this got moved anyway. And then where's hours coming from? Oh, I stored this as hours in here. That's silly. Let's store it as seconds. In here, we can't pull out hours, but we can pull out seconds. And then we don't need to do that anymore. And now we got a clash. Okay, so here I'm just going to inline this, say from integral. And then remember the $sign is, and it's not there, it's there. I'm going to pull seconds out of B. Let's get rid of that. Okay. There are no warnings, so I'm guessing it still works. Let's just fire up the server and quickly check. Stack run should do it. Okay, so it's running. And then we can do our curl request just to get back all the environments. There's environments available. And then I'm going to create a booking on environment 0. The time's changed, obviously, the date's changed. So we're 27th today. We're going to book it from 2 hours for 2 hours from 10 minutes ago. Okay, it says it's created it. And then if we get the environment back, we can see it's now changed to status booked. Okay, so it's still working, which is good. It's booked from this time for this number of seconds. I might hide that actually when I'm returning it, but yeah, it's basically functional. So let's now break it, I guess, by trying to import the megaparsec stuff. I don't just want to copy and paste it. I kind of want to rebuild it, even though it's a bit repetitive, mostly because it'll help me learn megaparsec a bit better. I guess the first thing to do is to actually add it to the Cabal file. We're not using Cabal here. We're going to add it to the package file. Or are we using Cabal? Actually, we're not using Cabal. And there's no package. No, okay, cool. I'm using Cabal directly. So in the build depends, I'll just stick another thing, which is going to be megaparsec. Okay. I'll bring this back up again. Just build it. Should force stack to go and get a dependency. Is it going to do it? Yeah. Okay, it's compiling that. While it's compiling, I'm just going to go and try and find the previous work I did, which was in Timey, I think. I hope that's still building. I didn't close the window. Okay, actually loading this package is probably not the best idea. But I'll just have a quick skim through it actually, and then I'll flip back to the servant app. The way I stored duration before, I'm not going to repeat. So my thinking was to store a structured breakdown of the times that I'm given. That was primarily because I was thinking about weeks, not weeks, sorry, months. So if you're given a number of days or hours or whatever, you can always convert it into seconds. If you're given a number of months, that's much harder to do. You don't know how long a month is, so you can't just say I'm going to multiply it by whatever. So I was thinking I'd store it in a structured format where you just take the units of time that were specified and then store them directly. And then we can kind of normalize those later. Yeah, I did do. I can see here I'm normalizing them. But actually, I'm not that interested in booking for a number of months. So I think I'm just going to stick to storing it as seconds. So a lot of this complexity will go away. Here in my parser, I can't remember what the second argument to parsec is about. Is it the error type? I mean, that's not super helpful. I might go and look it up again to see what this second argument to parsec is all about. String here is the input type. So I'm going to feed it in a string, and really can't remember what the void is for. I don't think it's error type, but maybe it is. And then, yeah, we say we're going to create a parser. In this case, returns a string, so it's going to go from parsec, whatever void is for, string, and then it's going to return a string. And this is going to return a unit, where the unit was days, hours, or minutes. This is a parser returns an int. So I guess I'm really going to go for a parser second. All of these are going to parse something and return a second, or they might return one of these units, and then we use that to calculate the number of seconds. And then let's scroll at the end of this, where we're actually calling the parser. So we try. Oh yeah, that's right. We had all these weird combinations, didn't we? So the comma duration one was like 2 days, and then a space, and then something like 2 days, 3 hours. Combination one does a similar thing, but with and. Maybe could have been collapsed somehow. No, I can't remember. Oh, that's right. We got this weird thing of 2.5 days and 4 hours. So and a half was a special case. So I had a special parser for that. Was it like half a day or something? I can't remember how exactly this worked. Okay, look, it was there. Yeah, so specifically half an hour and half a day. So I think it's just matching a couple of cases, an hour and a half, a day and a half. They're really weird things. So that was parsing the comment limited to compound one, or trying to do this half day thing, like day and a half, and then we have the simple duration. The simple one being hours, minutes, days. So I think we just pull out the unit. So it's either numbered duration or single unit. So numbered duration would be an integer followed by a unit, I think. So like 3 and then days. And then the single unit one is just dealing with the fact that the article for these is different depending on whether it's a day or an hour or a minute. Named number. Oh yes, let you type 3 or 4, whatever. Okay, so you can type the digit or you can type the corresponding English name of it. Then we fill in the unit. That's right. Okay, I think we can just build up something similar. We can maybe make it a bit simpler, but we can start with a similar idea. But these are all the things that are parser duration here are going to become parser second in my new world. And I made some testing as well for this. So tests. Yeah, there's a lot of kind of these weird cases and making sure they return the correct duration. So I might just go with the initially just start building out the simple unit, assume some numerical value and then a unit, and see if we can get that working inside the servant app. Okay, so I'm just going to switch back to the servant app for a second. I'm going to hope that in the background it built, but it looks like it closed the terminal. So I'm just going to say stack. Oh, I have there. I'm going to say stack build again. Just make sure it has compiled it. No, it has not. Okay, so that was unfortunate. My idea of letting it run in the background was not very successful. But while it's installing megaparsec, what I might do is see if we've got any testing set up. So do we already have any kind of spec? We do not. In fact, we don't have a test block in here. Okay, so let's set up testing inside Cabal, which I did recently and I've forgotten where I did it. I'm going to switch to it, but one of them, maybe binary parser. I looked at how to set up the tests properly. Actually, maybe this. Yeah. So if I look in the Cabal file for this, in here, we've got this block about test suite, which I'm going to copy and paste. But we're using this thing called hspec discover, so I can create a spec.hs, which looks like this. And then we just pick up anything in this directory or under this tree, I think, which is called something spec.hs. So in here we'll have simple spec, just an example. And what that needs to do is export a function called spec, which it's just a type spec, and then this is where you put the test. So you can split the test up over multiple files. And you don't have to write anything to say, run this test and import from this file and run that. It just does it for you, which is a lot easier to use. Well, to tidier anyway. So what I want to do is go back to the cabal file. I want to grab all of these lines. I won't necessarily want exactly this, but certainly very similar. And I'm going to go back to the cabal file in Bookie, thing I was working on. Just drop this in, so it's going to be Bookie test. Now I have a bit of an issue here because I'm only building an executable. I'm not exporting a library. So importing stuff into the executable, and then, well, the executable is not going to export the modules, basically. So I couldn't import DAO, for example, into here. At least I don't know how to do that. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I don't know how to do it. But for now, let's just get the simple spec working, I think. And then I'll have a look at maybe splitting this into an app and a lib. Yeah, I think that's the right way to go. And then we can put the megaparsec stuff into a lib, and then we can import it here. So we can export it from the library. We can import it into here, and then we can test those things. Okay, so to get the simple spec working, I need two files. One is the top level spec file, which uses this hspec discover. And the combination of the new file is not that one. Okay, so you can say test slash spec.hs. And I'm just going to switch to my other spec.hs here and just copy it verbatim. It's going to be exactly the same. And then the other thing I'm going to do is, oh, it's not happy. Come on, you can do this. Again, Haskell language server is struggling to catch up. So I'll create another file in here, and I'm going to call this simple spec just to make sure things are working properly. Again, I'm just going to copy that. Yeah. So test at hspec. It's really annoying. The language server doesn't pick up the dependencies from the testing block. It's only going to pick them up from, oh goodness, we've got other issues. Okay, I'm not quite sure which language server it's picked up now. That's not great. You might have some issues. I might have to close and reopen this. I was saying it doesn't pick up the spec dependency from this build depends in the testing block. It's gone funny again. In fact, I think it only picks up these dependencies, which means I end up always adding hspec into here as well, even though I don't really want it. But I don't know how to fix that. We should look into that at some point. Okay, I'm gonna stop the language server for a second. Okay, we've compiled that. I'm going to start test to get it to download and set everything up. Cool. So it picked up my simple test and it ran it okay. So I can start to add some tests for for the megaparsec stuff. I'm going to optimistically try starting the language server again, but I don't know if it's going to work at this point. I hope it does. Moving jumps back. Okay. So let's try starting the LSP. Should be okay because it has all its dependencies now, but I don't know. I think the problem is when I switched to another project, it started using a different version of the language server. We have 6, 7, 8 errors. Where are these errors? No, it's really not happy. It's also giving me errors from here, so I'm just going to try closing those buffers. So the auto2 test stuff, and this one as well, and this one. Okay. If I just go, what is it, Control-Shift-E? Yeah. I've told it not to show me open editors. So open editors here are all inside Bookie. Cool. I think we should be okay now. So I'm going to try just restarting the language server again, stopping it and starting it. If that doesn't work, I'm going to quit VS Code and reopen it. Because I find it awkward without the language server. I like it there, helping me along. I'm looking at simple spec. Let's see if it can start up properly. It's not looking happy at all. Well, for different reasons actually. No, here we go. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why it's using the wrong version. I'm going to just try quitting this. And then rerunning code. See if that fixes my problem. Yeah, no problem's been detected. Isn't that great? Might be different when it starts. Okay, you can tell the language server isn't running because it's not complaining. There we go. Cool. What is this? That's a file that should not be open. Can we go away? Why is it type checking another project? I don't know. Anyway. Okay, ignoring that warning from another project, we seem to be running again. It's given me some hints, which is good. Okay, so all that kerfuffle. I can now. Why are we at auto2? Oh, I've opened the wrong file. That's why. It's completely the wrong place. So I'm getting a bit of an argument here, I think, with VS Code. It doesn't like me opening stuff from another project. You know, which I guess makes some sense, but let's close everything except the cabal file. Oops. And then I'm going to stop the language server. This is going to be an hour of me stopping and starting the language server, I think. Start the language server again. nothing's happening, which is good. So then we can open up simple spec out of test. It's going to start the language server properly. Let's go true. Wow, that's an interesting error. Let's go $. Ah, it is interesting. Okay. It's interesting because this is using relude instead of prelude. Oh no, it's gone horribly wrong now. No, it's ungone wrong. I can't remember. If I just import prelude, I think it'll give me everything that I want. I don't know why it's picking it wrong GHC IDE and then disappearing again. I don't know what it's doing. Putting prelude should give me access to these things, basically. You know, stuff that's standardly in prelude. Just going to stack test, make sure it thinks it's happy. It is not happy. I cannot do that. Maybe I wasn't using prelude in this project. A quick look in how. Oh, prelude. Oh, really? Oh, okay. I've got myself in a bit of a mess here because actually, go back to the Cabal file. I think, yeah. So I said no implicit prelude. Oops. What was that key? Oh wow, didn't know that. So if I type single quote, it lowercases everything. Don't really know why I'd want that, but there we go. Down here, I'm going to add the no implicit prelude, and I'm going to add prelude to the dependencies here. So that it works the same way in the test as it does in the main code. If it works, I don't know. It runs, I guess that's the thing. Okay, so what I want to do now is create a new test. Not like that. Not like that. Oh, come on. Like that. So we'll go under test directory, we'll create folder. I might call this, it's going to be the only parser. We can rename stuff later if we need to. And we will have something like simple spec, I guess, in here. Not a great name, is it? But it's just parsing simple cases. So this is module all the S's and R's are wrong. Simple spec. And it's going to export a spec. And it's going to import relude, and we're going to import test H spec, I think it was. Can't remember. What's that? Certainly. Test H spec. Why am I separating my paths with colons? It's been a while. And then we're going to say spec is of type spec. And we say spec equals do, and then it should fail. Actually, I mean, let's do it parses. We'll do a nice simple case of 10 minutes. I'm just going to stick my dollar in there. I think shouldn't need the dollar there. I just can't remember to put everything. I think it had one there, and then it said something like, that's too much. We'll say something like parse duration, and we go to string or some text. A string, I think, because I don't think I've moved over to text. So we can say parse duration 10 minutes, and then backtick should be, or should equal. I think it should be. And we'll just make it seconds. Something like that. Okay, and we haven't got parse duration because I haven't written it yet. So you say import parse of duration. I'll put it there. Yeah, why not? That should work, I think. Okay, going to go back to Cabal file. And I'm going to create a library. I'm going to call it bookylib. Oh, this is going to be awkward. So I already put everything under source until it's an executable, which is not great when trying to write a test. I'm going to try a quick thing. Can you expose modules if you're writing in an executable? It doesn't make sense, does an executable is an executable. Okay, in that case, if I put this into app, we have to move a lot of stuff around, and then I'll put this into source, and it should be a main, leave the same language and extensions. I'm not going to have other modules, I'm going to have exposed modules. But that's not the correct syntax, yes it is. Maybe it's not, I don't know, we'll find out. What are we going to expose? We're going to expose, I guess, down DB. Let's go there, join the lines. Okay. And then down here, you can say we're going to depend on bookylib. I'm not sure which of these I actually need for main. But everything's going to be broken in a minute, so I just got to move some stuff around. So let's say make their app. We're going to move source main into app. If we just open main, we should be able to see what we need in here. So we need DAODB, which come from the library. It needs all the stuff, basically, related servants, warp. Here we got related servants. ASIN was used, warp. Probably doesn't need time, or megaparsec. Not sure what time, I might leave it in there. And down here we can pull in bookylib. And then let's see how much of a mess this is. So we definitely got a problem where in the parser spec, I Try to pull in parse duration, that doesn't exist yet. So I want to put that under source. Not like that. There we go. Say source parser duration. I'm exporting something called parse duration, so we can say module doesn't know how to play that for me. My machine's not very happy. Yeah, the language has gone haywire. My CPU's been really high and nothing is working very well. Parser dot duration, and we're going to export something called parse duration. Where, and then we will just import ReLUde because we'll probably need that at some point. We will import megaparsec but later. And so parse duration is going to go from a string. Well, it's not going to go from a string to an int. I'll pretend it does. Actually, I'm going to say it goes to seconds. So we'll go and I'll just redefine seconds. It's just a bit clearer than returning an int where it wouldn't be clear what that int stood for. So that's fine. And then, oops, parse duration. I'll ignore the argument. Move there. I'll just return 17 for now, which is the wrong answer. The reason I want to do that is just to make sure the test fails. Then I'll add megaparsec and we'll start parsing, I hope. Like a surprising amount of moving shit around and arguing with language server. Okay. Oh, I haven't put it in my cabal file. Okay. That's another annoying thing. Oops. So in other modules, I'll need to specify everything that's in here. So simple spec, and then over in the end that I'll need to remember to update the cabal file. So run that again. Okay, ish. Not amazing. Couldn't find module parser duration. Okay, I thought I did that. Did we export it? We did not. I'll export it, expose it. Is that going to help? It did help. Ish. Something happened. It's not a good thing. So, in building package book, you got see sections of the error. Blah 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 blah. Exit failure 1. Where is the error? Ah, can't find source for DAO in app. Where's that coming from? In app. Is that just a mistake in my cabal file? Yes, it is. Okay. So DAO and DB are no longer in here. The only thing in there should be main. I think. Okay. Third or fourth or fifth time lucky. I also got this annoying thing. Good, I think. Yeah, there we go. That's what I wanted. So the simple one runs tests. I'll get rid of that now. But parser simple, parser 10 minutes did not get the right answer, but it got the correct wrong answer. So that's nice. So let's get rid of that for a second. Then we go to the other simple spec. And they should have a thing to delete the file. Move it to trash. There we go. Okay. So, parse duration. almost getting to the point where I'm starting the thing I wanted to do. So maybe I will open a new window. And I will move around. There we go. Okay, so in here I'm just going to open Timey, because this might be a slightly better way of running it without confusing language server. Although the language server is pretty confused actually, so maybe it doesn't matter. But my thinking was that, oops, opening two windows might make it a bit happier. Okay, so we're either going to go from we're going to go to a string to either the errors or a duration, or in our case, we're going to go to seconds. And we're going to say parse, and then we're not going to have all these tries and backtracking. We're just going to have simple duration parser. I still can't remember what the void is about, so I'm just going to quickly have a look at that actually. Search for parse, and it should find it in megaparsec. Not seeing it in megaparsec. Oh, there it is. Okay. Name and source file. That's what the void is about. Yes, because the input here I'm saying is a string, and it's returning this either parse bundle S, which is my input, E, which is my error class. I think that was right. No, wait a minute. No. So ESA, S is the type of the input, E is, I'm guessing, some kind of error. So I'm returning void, and I guess you could return a string or something more meaningful, or maybe a structured error type. And A is another thing. It returns, oh, A is the output type. Okay. Right. Okay, that's right, because we were saying we're building a parser and saying it's void, I guess, it's coming in. It'd probably be void and then string, and void would be the type of the error returning, in our case, nothing. And then we would say parser duration or parser string or whatever. So it's A, we don't specify in our type, but we return it. No, we don't return it, sorry, we use it when we're running a specific parser. This one, yeah, so void is our error type, so we're not using that at all. Okay, let me grab the inputs, not the inputs, the imports. I might do this in the most difficult way possible, I don't know, we'll see. We'll create our new type, so we'll say data, is it data or new type? Is it type? We are not creating a constructor, so it'll be a type. I'm going to call this duration parser. It's going to be lots of type, isn't it? But I might just rename it to parser later. We're not exporting it, let's just call it parser. And its input type is going to be a string. And then the return type from this is going to be the error bundle gubbins, I don't know what it's called, error bundle gubbins, technical term. This stuff. Seems like there should be a helper for that, but I don't know. And I should just be able to say write. We won't do any parsing yet, I'll just say write 17. ignore all this error stuff for a second. I just want to make sure it still compiles, basically. I just only run one test. Good, why have I got a syntax error? Oh! I only wrote half of this, so it's parsec void string. Cool, so I can't compare it to 360 anymore. So there's a should parse helper, I think. Let me just go back to here, and if I grab the spec, yeah, it should parse. We don't need to cast this duration stuff. We can just say, just give it a number, because seconds is just an integer at this point. Okay, so I bring up the simple parser spec. Not it should be, but it should parse. I'm guessing is going to come from a different place. Test.hspec. Is there a megaparsec? Can't remember. I'll check because I was getting it wrong. Test.hspec.megaparsec. Cool. Don't know why I imported all this stuff, but anyway. That should be enough for now. Okay, this has gone wrong again. I don't know what I've done. My setup is slowly breaking. I should spend a little bit of time at some point on this. Run the test again. Yeah, not cool. Is that a separate package? So here we're going to look at the cabal file. It is indeed a separate package. Okay, so I go back to here. I might need to add megaparsec here as well, I'm not sure. Let's find out. I should buy a really fast computer at some point. Okay, good. Move back to the same error, which is good, but we're now returning in the correct types and we're testing it with megaparsec helpers. Okay, so back to duration. So we can say parse simple duration. And that's going to be, I believe, let's check again, but I think we go from a string to a parser seconds. Should be enough, right? Parse simple duration. I'm using monadic form for this, I think. So we'll say, I don't know what to call this. V comes from digit char. Right, I don't necessarily need the monadic form for this because it's quite simple, I think. So it should be like digit char, and then what have we got? We got many space. I don't know what number char is compared to digit char. We want number. All these helpers actually do. Any definition for that? No. What do we want? We want many space. It's probably going to take a character rather than. Is there a space? Is that a thing? I can't tell because my language server is broken. Okay, I'm going to look it up. Not much point getting it wrong because it's not going to help. Here's my simple parser. A lot of half-unit stuff. Number duration parser, that's the one I want. Some character space, apparently. Oh, I have an int parser. What's my int parser? Where does that come from? Read. Ah, yes, because the int parser, right. So the digit, if I say some digit character, it will return that as a string. But I don't want that. I want it as an integer. Oops. So I'm just using read to convert it back into an int. Okay, so we'll steal that because that looks useful. That should work, and it's not going to be a digit char, it's going to be an int parser. I do want a monadic form, I just remembered what I want to do with this. It's going to be a lot easier, I think, if I say B comes from there, and then separately, in not joining it anyway, we're going to skip over many, some, because I think many inline 0, and then it was space characters, basically, just literally space. Do I want to make that some kind of white space thing? So in here, we go megaparsec. I don't want combinators. Just got the character classes in it. No. There's loads of cool stuff here, but it's not what I want. So if I just come back to here, we've got package megaparsec, and we want here. This is what I want megaparsec. Char. Okay, so we have underline tab space white space characters. See, also skip many and space char. But I could just use space. Because I presume that's how it's implemented, like skip many space char. Not quite. Okay. But anyway, I should be able to say space. I'd pull it in from here. And then we want unit. Oops. And that's going to come from the unit parser, which I'm just going to go and copy, I think, from here, because I remember being a bit fiddly. So we want a couple of things. We want the maybe s. We want, oops. We want everything basically except for the parser type in there, so I'll just grab it all and then delete it. Okay, so that should then parse something like 10 minutes, whatever it was. So we got our quantity and our unit. And then what we want to do is we want to somehow parse that. I can see the case statement, I guess. So case unit of, and then we can say unit days. I might do it around actually. So unit, I'm going to go from smallest to biggest. So unit minutes will be v times 60. 60 unit hours will be v times 3600, and unit days will be v times, is that 7200? No, 72,000. I can't remember. I could do 24 times 600. I've just noticed a comment from Tim, sorry. You don't get the GHCID thing. Do you have two compilers and only one language service, or two language servers and only one compiler? No. So at some point, originally I was setting this up, I was using Stack exclusively, and then at some point, is that make it bigger? I installed GHC up. What can I do with this? Can I get it to give me the pretty interface? Chewy. Okay, I installed this, and then I told it to install this version of GHC. It installed HLS. Actually, I've got an old one now, so I could do it updating it. And this version of Cabal, I think that came as default, and the latest version of Stack, I think, came as default. So basically, I used GHC up to try and set up Haskell on this virtual machine. And that was cool, and I've been using it a little bit. So that's happening, but the project that I'm working on predates that. So I have got Stack set up here with different resolvers on resolver, and it's also got a working directory, and it's installed its own copy of GHC. So the version of GHC that Stack is using and that the IDE is picking up, because I got Stack. I think I've got an HIE.yaml. Yeah, I'm told it to use Stack, so it's picking up the compiler that comes from Stack. And I think what has happened is that the language server has ended up in my path, and possibly the Haskell extension is using that. It's what it seems to be anyway, but certainly what seems to have happened is that I have got Haskell installed in two ways, and it's using both of them simultaneously here, and it's just causing a world of pain. What I might try and do is unstackify this project, or I mean, like GHC will work with Stack. I just need to, maybe I just trash the Stack work and start again, or maybe trash all of Stack's caching and try again. Let's see. Okay. So a little detour into why my machine is broken. Anyway, back to this. So well, I have to call it simple duration stuff. So we get some numbers, we get space, we get a unit, and then we turn it into the relevant number of seconds. So in theory, I should be able to say parse, and then we'll give it the parser to use, which is simply parse simple duration. Maybe give us some input. And the arguments to parse, I think, are the parser. Who's going to help me out here? It is not. I think it's the parser and then the file name and then the input, which means I can just reduce that. I think that's the case. Let's find out. Going with sum, so that's not a good start. I could have really did sum or megaparsec sum. Okay, is there already a helper called digits? I wonder. Two things, right? So really it shouldn't be giving me sum. I don't want that. So you can say excluding, it's not excluding, it's hiding. Then we say sum, it's lowercase sum. So that should fix it. But I wonder if there's a better helper rather than some digit chart, if we can just say number or something. But let's just quickly see if that has fixed the problem. Wow. Okay, one of the reasons it's interesting in Radiate is it gets rid of partial functions like read. So read is not safe to call basically because it might not succeed, it might check an exception. And there's a safer version of read. It's in Radiate and I've forgotten what it is because it's ages ago since I last looked at this. Okay, oops. Radiate read. Is it going to give an example? Yeah, read. So inside it's got read maybe, which is going to return maybe a, and I haven't got from just, but I do from maybe. So I can give it a default. No, I don't really want. I don't want to throw an exception. I guess that's a thing, right? But once I've read the digit characters, I know that it's going to be successful. So I'm kind of okay using the unsafe version, the partial version. I don't have it, so I need to do something. So maybe I can do read maybe, and then from maybe in result of that. And it cannot check an exception, but I will need to provide a default. Okay. So first of all, we've got read maybe. But I think this is going to succeed, so I can say from maybe, and if it doesn't succeed, I can maybe just fill the parser. It wouldn't make sense to ever get into the situation, but I think, you know, if you ever get to the point where read may be returning something which is nothing in this case, after we tell it just to parse digits, then we can, I think there's no point continuing, so I'll just fill the parser. Before I do that though, I'm just going to look at, see if there's digits, because it's got like space. No, it doesn't. Okay, so you've got categories of class, so you need to use them with something. Wow, the wrong numerals. That'll be interesting. Okay, so if I go back to megaparsec itself, somewhere in here I should be able to return fail or call fail. There's various ways of failing the parser. Failure. So stop parsing and report a trivial parse error. So hopefully, I don't know if it'll work or not, but I'm thinking I can say failure. There. It's a lot more complicated for something that's always going to work. Are we getting closer? Okay. Couldn't match type string parser seconds. Expected that got string to parse. Sorry. Expected parsec void string seconds. Actual type string parser seconds. Expected too few arguments. Okay. I'll look up the definition of parse because I'm missing something here. Because I'm applying it to the parser, an empty string, and then the input string. Or at least I think I am. And in here, it goes parsec, name of the source file, input for the parser, and it returns that. Oh, it looks like it should work actually. Parse, and then my parser. So parser that I wrote goes string to parser seconds. Let me just compare it to the one I wrote before. Nope, not there. Okay, there in a second. There we go. Where's my simple parser, or the equivalent of simple duration parser? Number duration parser, which is the one I'm actually implementing. It should be parser duration. It's not string to. That's the problem. Okay. Oh, because the definition of parser will be a function that goes from string to the parse content and the remaining string. That's the type of parser plus all the error handling stuff. Okay, so I could have noticed actually from the other parsers I wrote. Try it again. Good and bad. Couldn't match this type with actual type int. Only for days? Or is it only picking up days because it's it's the first case it's failing on? Is it that? Because I'm returning an int and it's wanting a parser. Okay. Oh, get back. Yeah, okay. So it doesn't know what failure is. Oh no, failure expects something. Is it take a string maybe? That makes some sense, I guess. I just want a failure though. Unexpected item of any expected items. No, that's not what I want. Unexpected item. So I don't really care about this error at the minute. So for now, just want to get it working. Let's go. If we don't parse out, let's just return a 0. Just sorry, I have to think, can I return a 0 there? Because the type seems wrong now. Like, do I need... Oh. So the thing is, we were reading some digit character which would return a string, but it wouldn't actually return a string, it would return a string inside this parser. It's computational context, and we're putting read maybe into there. So actually what we need is this, I think. So we're going to apply from maybe 0 to read maybe, and then put that whole lot. We use a functor interface to this. So we'll run this whole lot to the value that comes back inside the parser from parsing digit characters. I don't think that's syntactically correct, but conceptually it's the right thing to do. It was syntactically correct. Cool. Good. My test is stupid. I can't multiply 60 by 10. That was an unexpected but joyful failure. I'm just going to change to 5 minutes. Why are you not failing? Because I still can't multiply. Is it 6 minutes? I'm going to keep my expected value the same. I'm waiting for the comment to pop up. It explains I still can't add. Let's give that a go. There we go. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. What we've done is a lot of work. So I've started testing it, which has meant splitting the application up into a library and the main application. I don't know if it still runs, actually, just out of curiosity. Does stack run work? Yeah, it does work. Okay, cool. That worked. So I split it up into the application and then the library, or the executable in the library. And then I can put the library into the tests. Then I've started to move megaparsec over and just got the basics working, re-implementing it roughly from scratch, which means I'm remaking all the same errors. But it's a good experience, isn't it? And then I've argued a bit with Prelude, which is a bit unnecessary. But yeah, this is like the basics. I can start to flesh this out, and it'll also parse 2 days and stuff like that. So I might just take this simple parse we have now. I'll flesh out the tests a bit next week, and then I'll use that when decoding the JSON, rather than the sort of hard-coded, it has to be exactly 2 hours or 1 week. And then I can just start to flesh out the parser, and then we should have something good. So maybe get that done next week, and then the plan after that is to start looking at replacing the in-memory database with talking to Postgres or something, but probably Postgres. But that's all for the future. Cool. All right, thanks for watching along. I'll try and fix my Haskell setup before next week, if I remember. But yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully see you next week. Goodbye.